In here, the ANC Youth League was influential in turning the ANC into a radical organization. Let's take a look at the timeline since the organization's formation. So, in the 1940s to the 1950s, the ANC Youth League goes into a decline after Anton Lembete's death. In 1956 to 1960, many ANC youth leaders are implicated in the treason trial. Then you have the 1959 Africanist faction in the Youth League, which breaks away to form the PAC. The ANC Youth League becomes moribund, with issues, and in 1966, the ANC Youth and Student Section formed with Thabo Mbeki as leader in Britain. In the 1980s, youth mobilization is led by the Congress of the South African Students, or as it's known, COSAS. And then Oliver Tambo names them the Young Lions of the Struggle. And then in 1987, the SA Youth Congress secretly launched in Cape Town. In 1991, the ANC Youth League is relaunched after the unbanning of political organizations. Then you had a situation in 2013 where the Youth League structures disbanded after Julius Malema's expulsion. The league was run by two different Youth League and national task teams until 2023. And then earlier this year, you'll remember the Youth League Congress elected a new leader, Colin Malachi, as its new president. Then you've got your Youth League presidents since 1994. You have Anton Lembete, who was there from 1944 until 1947. In 1948 until 1950, you had Apim Da, and he then was preceded by Nelson Mandela, who took over from 1950 until 1960. In 1987 to 1991, Jackie Silebi took over the reins as the Youth League head at the time. And then in 1991, to the dawn of democracy, you had Peter Mokaba, who led us into democracy as the youth leaguer. In 1994 to 1996, you had Lulu Johnson. And then in 96 to 2004, Malusi Gigaba held the reins as the president of the ANC Youth League. He then was followed by Fikile Mbalula, who reigned from 2004 to 2008. And then in 2008 until 2012, Julius Malema took on the reins as president of the Youth League until he was expelled. It was at that point then you had Colin Maine, who took over until 2019. And then, as I mentioned earlier on, this year, after the elective Congress of the Youth League, Colin Malachi being elected as the Youth League president. Now, all foreign nationals in the country unlawfully must leave immediately. That's the call by the ANC Youth League president, Colin Malachi. He says the police and the army must do what he calls a clean-up of the country. He was speaking at the Youth League's birthday celebrations in Mpumalanga.
We're further demanding that all illegal foreigners must leave our country on urgent basis. Anything illegal can be in our country. They are heavy on our infrastructure, they are heavy on our health system, they are heavy on everything. When they do crimes in South Africa, we can't account for them because they are illegal. Now we're saying the military, the police, Home Affairs, everybody, from tomorrow you must work full time to clean this country out of illegal foreigners.
Let's continue to unpack this with reporter Moloko Moloto, who is on the ground attending those celebrations. A very good afternoon to you, Moloko. And I mean, we took the address of the Deputy President of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, earlier on, and we left those celebrations during the cutting of the cake ceremony. Tell us a little bit about the important issues that have been unpacked at the same time as celebrating an organization that one would say was rekindled this year after that elective Congress.
That is very true. The ANC Youth League was actually founded on this day in 1944 to kind of like inject some energy and militancy in the mother body, the African National Congress of the time. But of course, today, the celebrations taking place in Mpumalanga with the leaders of the ANC, specifically the Deputy President Paul Mashatile, as well as the president of the ANC Youth League, Colin Malachi, and he joins me now to take that discussion forward. Thank you very much for your time, Nugu. A very controversial statement that you made there, calling on the illegal immigrants to leave our country with immediate effect. Somebody is going to say our country, the xenophobic attacks is a fertile ground for xenophobic attacks, potentially. Do you understand the gravity of that particular statement that you made?
Look, anything illegal is wrong. And xenophobic attacks happen because the law enforcement agencies are not doing their work. We're not anti-foreigners in our country. South Africa is a gateway to Africa. Now you are likely to have a flock in of many other interests. But on the issue of illegal foreigners, it's a problem because, one, it affects the infrastructure because you don't know who to budget for. Number two, when there's crimes made by illegal foreigners, it's very difficult to find them. And the fact is that if you are grounded, you know that a lot of our towns are taken over by illegal foreigners. You know, and those are things that we must speak about. If there must be a differentiation between those who come to the country because there's wars in their own countries and there's no stability, who must protect as a human right responsibility, than those who just come here to just operate illegally.
You surely do not have control on how your members, your followers, and even fanatics would interpret or misinterpret your statement. Will you take accountability should there be xenophobic attacks?
No, we said that the police and the defense force must act on it. We never said our members must act on it. We further said the Minister of Small Businesses must fund and give grants to local businesses so that they're able to be funded on their tech shops. Now, all of these things, we've directed them to the right agencies to act on it. Now, if they don't act on what is happening, you can't say it's our members who are doing that. It's their constitutional responsibility to enforce the law in this country.
You then spoke about the program that you are engaged in as the Youth League, summoning cabinet ministers to come and account to Luthuli House, to your office of the ANC Youth League. And you are saying that you are scoring them. Those who were to score below 50% in terms of your scorecard, the President of the Republic must fire them. Are you getting cooperation? Are they coming to account? Who of these ministers are giving you a hard time?
I don't think there's a minister who will ever give the Youth League a hard time. Because they know, those that they know us, they know we're not a Youth League that just speaks, we act. We've spoken to the President about it. We told him we'll give him a report of the ministers because the center of power is in Luthuli House. And part of the reasons we did, you know, one thing we want to speak about is that we did a rally. And in our rally, there was no mobilization of artists on the rally. It was mainly mobilized on the brand of the Youth League and its president. If you can check, it has never happened in history. Usually, the artists being mobilized. We said, let's test our strength. Let's mobilize our structures outside that, so that even if we invite artists, they can come at the background, but it must not be as part of the program. And we did that very well. Now, we've shown our strength as the Youth League. The young people are impatient. They're tired. Unemployment is hitting them very hard. There is no patience at all. If the ANC has to stay in power, we must address the issue of socio-economic challenges, mainly the high level of unemployment that faces the youth. Drugs are killing the youth every day.
The call that you made that the executive managers in all the SOEs, 50% of them, if I'm not wrong, in fact, in the SOEs, you said all of them, all the executive managers, those positions must be held by young people. Are you getting support from the officials of the ANC and the NEC there?
If I could get all of them, I'll be very excited. But we've called for 60% because NEFSA's access to education have produced many young professionals. And we think that we must give them a chance now to thrive. The likes of Brian Mulefez and many others, they had the opportunities to thrive the economic development at an early age. Now, why the stage where we must do that ourselves? You can't say somebody who's 35 years says young and say 6 years must come back and say we've got a developmental agenda of over 50 years. What institutions are building? Institutional memories built over time and events. Give them responsibilities, you'll see them, they'll prove themselves and they'll perform.
How would you respond to those who would say balance this with experience and perhaps the manner in which you are going about? It's more like you are kicking out the old who are coming with experience.
Look, I'm 30 years of age. I've been to all spheres of government. Now I've got over 10 years in management responsibilities. I'm sure the others, if they're given the same opportunities, will do that. Now build capacity. Don't postpone it. The problem is that you want to postpone the experience and want to put experience with ageism. Build capacity, you'll see the youth will lead.
Yeah. You have expressed disquiet at the fact that the ANC is in some form of coalition with people you call criminals. Johannesburg will come to mind for me. And you are even saying the ANC must pull out of those arrangements. Are you in contact? Have you raised this with particularly leaders in Gauteng? What are they saying?
Look, we've engaged with them in meetings. The ANC must not impose itself to the people of South Africa. The people of South Africa must vote for the ANC. If they have not voted for the ANC, it's a new chance for the ANC to self-correct. It means that things the ANC is doing wrong. We are a democratic organization. We fought for the democracy. We shall never at any time want to lead through back doors. If we don't have majority to govern, we must sit back and allow the will of the people to lead. That's how it works. I'm a Democrat like that. Now, imposing yourself, for example, you're going to have a mixed masala of people who don't have the same principles, and now it's a gangster's paradise. Everyone just comes in who wants to be close to state resources, just comes through that thing, and they call it collusion government. It's a unit of criminals. We can't allow that.
But who are these criminals?
No, we're saying that it's a unit of criminals. Now, anyone who goes to power through back doors is a criminal. Even if he's in the ANC, it means they're criminal. If he's whereas other parties are criminals. I'm saying that why do you want to go through back door when the majority of the people say that they are not giving you enough votes to govern on your own? It means you must go and rerun elections again.
All right, let's conclude then. Colin, you are saying 50% of parliamentarians and members of the legislature after next year's elections must be young people. How are you going to achieve that? The list process, the nomination process is underway. Are you making headway there?
We're doing very well. If you can check the list, if you can do your own research, you'll see we are very grounded. From VD to branch level, we're telling the youth to nominate each other. That's what they're doing. They're nominating each other. We're saying that if you want to mix experience, it must not be more than 10%. Majority of those they must nominate must be 35 and below. Then there must be the missing middle of 35 to 40. Anything else is not our responsibility.
Thank you so much. Colin Malachi, the newly elected president of the ANC Youth League. You would recall he was elected along with the new National Executive Committee members of the League sometime in April. This was really the first test for them to show their strength in terms of pulling the numbers, because it was, if I'm not wrong, their first major rally since they got elected. The deputy president of the party, Paul Mashatile, there also giving a keynote address calling on the young people of the ANC to rally or lead this process of galvanizing electoral support for the ANC ahead of next year. Very confident, it would seem. He's saying that there is not going to be a coalition of any sort. Confident that the ANC will win the elections. But we all know the other parties are not sleeping either. It is certainly going to be an interesting election since the dawn of democracy next year.
Very interesting indeed, Moloko Moloto. Thank you very much for that update. That is Moloko Moloto joining us on the day of the 79th birthday of the ANC Youth League.